The Syringa Tree was written by Pamela Gien. She grew up in South Africa, and some of the instances in the play are based on her own experience. So this play is really a memory play. It takes place in her memory, and it deals with the tension of not belonging and trying to understand who you are in a space. Dramaturgy has to do with two different things, with the literary structure of the play and with the historical or cultural research behind a play. Calvin's dramaturgy usually focuses on the second of those two things. And so I did a lot of research having to do with the riot that happened in 1976 in Soweto. I did research on the pass laws that are such an important part of the play. Who's allowed to go where and when and what kind of things they have to carry with them.
I basically did a lot of research on the background and context for the play to help provide a sense of what was going on in that time and what built up to it, not only for the actors but for the audience as well, for providing information for the panels that are displayed in the lobby before the show. The story of South Africa has been something that has intrigued me since my sophomore year of high school, and so being given the opportunity to research it further and provide the actors and audience with more information about it was really something that I took seriously and willingly.
The play appealed to us because it's a play as part of our 75th anniversary of theater. It's a play that sort of talks about a subject matter that the problem of apartheid really began with Dutch Reformed people. And I don't know whether we can make amends for that by doing this play, but it's sort of the problem began with us.
Our Christian roots, our Christian Reformed roots, are very closely connected to the Dutch Reformed roots of South Africa, and the Dutch Reformed Church played a very integral part of creating apartheid.
It's important for us to know what our ancestors have done, to realize, sometimes they did things that weren't good at all.
This was almost in our lifetime that all this stuff was going on, and to forget it so quickly and to say that it's not important anymore seems kind of ridiculous. But more importantly, I think that the things we learned from apartheid and the messages that come from the play are still really relevant. And it's not as though, racial discrimination on a governmental level has gone away with apartheid. It wasn't the last stronghold of that.
The attitudes that helped progress that movement are still present in our society today. So I think students need to be aware and conscious of such attitudes because they can lead to disaster and they can lead to an improper use of our own Christian stewardship.
Throughout the entire process of apartheid, they were justifying it in a way that perhaps if I had been there, I would have said, oh yeah, well that makes sense. They were taking the native blacks and putting them in what they called homelands throughout South Africa, saying, well, we want to give them their own autonomous regions. And when you hear that, we're like, yeah, that makes sense. It's that whole separate but equal kind of thing. But anytime you start putting labels on people and putting them in separate places, inequalities are bound to happen, and I don't know if I would have seen that. And so it's really interesting for me to realize that I could have been part of the problem.
What we've been trying to do is work towards reconciliation and peace, and we would like to continue that process through this production. So that's really what appealed to us about this as part of an entire season that was dedicated to our history.